Hi guys, it's Kyle from Hoey Insurance, and today we're going to be talking about insuring vehicles and which are the most expensive to insure and which are the least expensive to insure. Before we get into that though, I want to go over the most common rumors that I hear about when insuring these new vehicles. The biggest of which that I hear all the time, and I'm a sports car guy. I like fast cars. I enjoy fast cars. And the most common thing I'm told at dealerships and from other people all the time is, oh, they put back seats in it for insurance reasons. No, they didn't. That's not how it works. They put back seats in cars because that's what the consumer wants. The insurance company doesn't go, oh, it's got 4 seats. It's not a sports car. We don't know what's going on. We know, guys. We know exactly what you're buying. A lot of us are enthusiasts. We appreciate fun, nice, fast things. They're great. We love them. They're not fooled by something like that. So if somebody tells you that's why the back seats are there, they're lying to you. It's not the case. Or they probably actually just don't know. Now, another common thing I see, and again, this I hear from dealers almost exclusively. So if you're a car dealer, salesman, and you hear this and you're telling this to other people, know that it's not accurate. They assume that upselling all these safety features are always going to result in additional premium, that since it has more safety features, it should be less expensive to insure. And on its face, you say, well, yeah, it's got more safety features. It should definitely be less expensive to insure because it's less likely to get in an accident. And, we see that a lot of times with, the auto brake assist, lane key, blind spot monitoring, some of the, like Subaru Safe Vision, all those different systems. Well, in New York, there's a limit on how many credits that get applied to a policy. And what happens is you hit this limit and then you stop getting more credits. So most people in a standard auto, what comes standard in most cars nowadays, you're hitting that limit right out of the box before you even add any of those features on. Furthermore, I've talked to a few underwriters and company reps who actually, they look at potential discounts for these kind of safety features to say, is it saving money? Does it cost the company less money if the people have these features or not? And the answer is not really, because it's a double-edged sword. They do see that it is, the people are correct. You're less likely to get into an accident with these safety features. However, the problem is all of these safety features love to get tied in right around your bumper or right behind your glass. So what happens is when you get into an accident or you break a windshield, all of a sudden the cost of repair has skyrocketed. So now what happens, instead of replacing a bumper for $1,000, now you're in $2,000 to $3,000 because all your sensors are screwed up and it all has to be recalibrated. Same thing if you break a windshield, like Subaru has their, I think, eyesight is what they call their program. They break the windshield, now all of a sudden it's a $1,000 windshield and it's got to be recalibrated, and that sucks. So when you see these safety features, think, oh, it's going to reduce my insurance. Don't think that. Some companies have started looking at giving discounts for it, but in terms of make or break for any situation, the jury is still kind of like, not a huge difference, so we're not applying any discounts for it. That's where the industry stands right now, so don't be misled by anything like that. But let's talk about which kinds of cars are the most expensive and which kind are the least expensive. Starting at the least expensive, it's actually going to be minivans. Minivans are consistently the lowest symbol cars that are the least expensive to insure. And then what is the most expensive kind of cars? It's usually going to be a high performance luxury car. But that doesn't mean that all luxury cars are expensive or all high performance or all luxury high performance cars are more expensive. That's just kind of how it trends. And the reason why is because as the cost of repair goes up, the cost of insurance goes up. But the countering factor to that is the frequency that they get into accidents. What this can result in is weird situations. For example, when the Chevy Cobalt was out, it was actually more expensive to insure certain trims of the Chevy Cobalt than it was to insure a Camaro SS, which crazy, right? But that's how it plays out. Now, when they're looking at determining how these vehicles are in terms of cost to insure and what the insurance companies are coming up with, what they're coming up with is the cost to repair, the frequency they get into accidents, and the likelihood of injury. So if your vehicle tends to get a lot of people injured, it tends to get more expensive to insure. If your vehicle tends to get into a lot of accidents, it's more expensive to insure. What this means in the real world is that a more expensive car that costs 2 or 3 times the car you have could actually be less expensive to insure, purely because the rate it gets into accidents are so much lower based on the drivers and what they see in terms of how often it's damaged and the injuries associated with it. So when you're looking for a car, don't always assume that based on stereotypes that's how the insurance is going to work out. Yes, there's definitely trends that happen in terms of how car insurance works, but in terms of how each individual car works, it can vary a ton. So don't always assume that one car is going to be way more than another car, because that is not how it pans out. But the one outlier every time, freaking minivans. Freaking minivans always end up being cheaper. So take that as you will. I'm a little disappointed. I was going to hope the sports cars were going to be the cheapest because I like sports cars, but somebody's real excited about this information. But I hope that helps. I hope it gives you some insight on what makes a car expensive and what makes a car cheap to insure. It can avoid you some troubles at the dealership, and it can avoid some false information that could lead you into a purchase decision that could end up costing you more money. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. I'll see you guys in the next one.